Yeah, good, good. How are you?
Oh, I've been better, but at least I'm healthy this week. Last week I was absolutely fucked. So it's nice to not be dying, which is good.
Yes, health is the foundation. We both know that, don't we?
Apparently, this is what I work on, but you wouldn't fucking know.
Hey, we all get sick sometimes.
It's true. It is true indeed. It's good to see you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Things are going really well.
I'm happy. I'm very happy
Yeah.
to hear that.
Should we dive in?
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
Right. So, from what you've written, essentially what I'm hearing is like you want a more efficient and more consistent lead generation and nurturing process that requires less of your time and energy in the long term.
Yep.
Cool. So, do you want to add any more context beyond what you've already written?
I tried to be as succinct as possible, just in the interest of brevity, and also knowing that I only just gave it to you about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The the I guess my biggest problem, truthfully, Ash, is that I just have been so used to doing it one way.
Yeah.
Um, Even as I've evolved and things have developed, I still sort of default to like shitty old programming where I'm like, I'll just do more story, as in, on Instagram, or I'll get back into the DMs, or I'll boost a post and message people. But it's such finicky. Um, I think what's happened is I've probably burned through the bulk of organic leads
Yeah.
out of the following, even though it's a big following. I think I've just burned through them because, maybe only 5% of them were ever interested in working together. And I've probably worked through the bulk of that. Um, and even as new people come in, there's always a probability that they're really just interested in like learning, as I would be, not actually parting with any kind of money or collaborating. So, um,
Yeah.
I'm now kind of in a space where I'm t sort of torn between diving down the Facebook marketing rabbit hole and, I've started, but not with any real conviction, versus, um, email marketing and nurture sequences, which I've been doing for a long time. Open rates are amazing, click rates are horrendous.
Yeah.
Um, and then just kind of call to actions on posts. So it's a bit all over the place, basically.
Yeah, cool. So it sounds like you want to get clarity and focus. You're pursuing
Yeah.
a few different methods and you want to really know which one to double down on.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of think I know the answer to that, but I also just want to like you've spoken with Tim and Steph, they're great, they know what they're doing, their stuff's
Mm.
excellent, I know it works. It's challenging for me being business to consumer, being
Mm.
a little bit different to what they do. There are other trainers who are making it work for different reasons, but it just seems to be a different thing. And I've also simultaneously been reshaping my marketing the last, I don't know, 6 months, because I've had enough of talking about fat loss. I've had enough of talking about fitness. I've had enough of just making it about that really surface level stuff.
Mm.
And I just like, I changed it from online fitness coach to fat loss coach. And I was like, they're just not, they don't encapsulate what I get to do. They don't
Mm.
encapsulate the 30 odd people that I do work with who are like, this is so much deeper than sets and reps and food. It's identity, it's coaching calls, it's like the accountability challenges how they think and gives them something really powerful. But I don't know how to convey that. And I don't want to go back to, hey, I'm some guy and I'm really fit and I took my shirt off and I'll help you get a six pack. Like I just am so um, that was 20 Dylan in his 20s. This is Dylan at 35. Like I'm trying to evolve and be taken seriously. But I'm also don't want to use these like I'm just sick of the shitty like bubblegum pop tactics. So, I want something like what I've always seen you do over the years, which is really clear, really structured, really deliberate.
Yeah. Yep. Got it. Okay. Okay. Let me ask you a few questions. And this is for me, but it's also for you. And like, if it's a deep rabbit hole and you don't want to spend too much time, then just be concise.
That's mean. You know I don't do concise very well. Okay. Ha ha ha. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. So tell me what your coaches are advising you to do and why that doesn't work for you.
Um, hmm.
You said they're giving, they're good, but it's B2B stuff and you're B2B, B2C, so it doesn't work for you. So what is that?
Right, right. So they're very big, like all in at the moment on um no like and trust content. Totally fine.
Yeah.
Lots of client proof, lots of story, lots of peek behind the curtain, which I'm definitely doing. Um, lots of ad spend, which I just can't justify $50 to $100 a day right now. It just doesn't make any sense. Um, they're big on email marketing as well, which again I agree with. I just think the application is just doesn't. I employ the tactics. I employ the tactics of email marketing. I have a 45% open rate on like 1,600 people. So
Right.
I think that's good, but
Mm,
nobody clicks. I don't think anyone really,
mm.
no one clicks. No one, some people reply, but it's only when it's a free thing, which I don't like because what am I? I'm just giving free stuff away. There's goodwill, but if I don't get anything out of it, I'm just working more for free. So that challenges me. Um, and it seems like, sorry, brevity. It seems like I go with a problem and it's group coaching. So, I respect the fact that it's not like they're going to get on a call with me. Um, it's like they kind of always tell me I'm only like a couple of tweaks away from exploding, but I keep making the tweaks, but the explosions don't really happen.
Yeah.
So it's a bit amorphous. I'm just trying to give you a specific example. Um, was the question, what am I doing that's not working, or what's my hesitation?
You said that they give good advice,
Yeah.
but their advice is more suited to B2B. And because you're
Right.
B2C, it's not that effective.
So it just seems that the drive towards professionalism, the drive towards, higher level marketing, speaking more to men of conviction, speaking more to high performers, speaking more to people who run businesses or do well in their career, rather than just speaking to people who want to melt belly fat and lose the man boobs. Um, it seems that in doing that, the vanity metrics have disappeared, which is fine. I don't need the vanity metrics. But it also seems that the people that it's attracting, um, most people just don't like. I think my sales process is very, very good. I think I know what I'm doing, but I think I'm getting the wrong people. Every now and then I don't do a good enough job, and that's on me. But generally, my close rate's really high, but my influx of leads is really low. Uh,
Yeah.
and B2B, general like it's a business. You can see like it's easy to justify a big expense when there's a direct correlation to bottom line. It's a bit more difficult when, for whatever reason, I'm attracting people who aren't making good money. So the thought of parting with $100 a week um, is a bit too much for them, which personally I think isn't really enough, as in I'm not charging enough. Um,
So what I'm hearing you saying is, sorry, you
mm,
keep going. Your process.
sorry, no, I'm sort of getting fixated on the wrong part of the question. Um, there's also a lot of like, because they have a team, as most businesses have a team. I've got Kath, but the things that they want me to implement, it's often really fast. We'll just build a couple of landing pages or just
Mm,
create a website or just these it's the challenge is it's hard to do these things quickly um because I have a lot of things that I'm trying to systemize all at once,
mm,
including changing the marketing and the tone of voice. So I'm
mm.
moving in that direction, but it's one of those things where it's like one step forward, two steps back.
Yeah, got it. I mean, to me, it sounds like you're facing the shit work of building a business, and it's hard. And like, you don't know what's going to work.
Yeah.
Shit, it doesn't work. It's so tempting to doubt your mentors because they keep advising things and they don't work. And to some, and I will give you guidance and suggestions that will hopefully help move this thing along. But also,
Mm,
it's in the nature of business that like it's you've just got to keep fucking up until it breaks through. And you do that, and then you hit a plateau, and then you fuck around for a while until you figure out what the next lever is.
mm,
So I guess I'm encouraging you to stick with the game and know that the growth will come, even though you can't see it right now.
yeah. Yeah.
But we can get more strategic.
Sure. Sure.
So what I'm hearing is now that you've rebranded, um, like what I'm hearing is you're getting less engagement and you're like aiming for a different audience, but you're not getting as many leads because it's actually a smaller audience and you haven't figured out how to make it work for that different, more elevated audience. Does that feel true?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, great. And do you know anyone who is actually making it work for that audience or know of anyone who's making it work for that audience?
Um, Sorry, two questions. Do you mean personally or
Either
professionally?
personally or they're just famous people who you know of.
Right. There is a guy in Success School. His name's Rich James Jackson, I think, but
Yeah,
he's not a fitness coach. He's a men's, I can't remember what he calls himself, men's marriage or it's kind of more in that world relationship.
yeah,
It's essentially the same people. We're sort of going for the same people. He's trying
yeah.
to help them be better leaders, better partners, better fathers. Um, and part of that is oftentimes when people lose that, they go down the path of losing their connection to themselves and their body. Seems to be making it work through a generous ad spend, uh,
Hmm.
but it's got nothing to do with fitness. I mean, it there's overlap, but he's got nothing to do with fitness. In terms of like, am I seeing anyone make it work doing it the way that I'm trying to do it? Um, I don't really see any other PTs wear a nice black shirt or nice clothing in their marketing with professional photos. That I don't really see. That's kind of like I'm trying to create, I'm sort of trying to follow the marketing principle of like become your own industry or become your own thing that no one else is. And then there
Mm.
is no price comparison. It's like, oh, this is something completely different.
Mm.
So that's kind of,
Blue Ocean.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's part of the challenge, but I know that there are enough online trainers doing a reasonable job. I don't know so many personally anymore. It's now
Mm.
a bit of a market of coaches coaching coaches, which is a bit
Mm.
annoying because I'm not a coach coaching coaches.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I didn't know of any when I began. I know one. His name's Jack Turner. He's actually my coach. He's my
Okay.
training and fitness guy. He trained under Oscar back in the day,
Yeah.
and he was at Fifth Element Wellness. He runs really strong ads, but his marketing's very Aussie blokes,
Yeah.
bloke Aussie dads, and he does a fucking good job.
Yeah.
He charges more than me.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'll share my screen um and give you a sense of the pathway,
Great.
what I think like in broad terms, and then we'll dive in on the pieces where you really want to ask questions.
Mm, thank you.
So if you like, you're starting a new target audience, right? So
Hmm.
there's an opportunity to rethink your brand from the ground up. There'll be
Hmm.
things that continue, but there'll be things that change. You've got
Hmm.
access to heaps of people in this target audience because you're already coaching them, which is a massive opportunity because you can learn really deeply about their psychology.
Mm,
And you can really understand what they need, what they're not getting, what they're attracted to with a fresh set of eyes. And
mm,
you can create something new that's really going to resonate for them.
mm,
So when I started this agency, I interviewed 8 people, and I started with a hypothesis. This is their pain point. This is their goal. These are the hurdles they're scared that they're going to have to cross in order to get there. And this is what they would dream about receiving that will eliminate the hurdles, solve their pain, and get to their pleasure.
hmm.
I had a hypothesis and
Yep.
interviewed them and I asked them questions and I got my hypothesis shat on and demolished and rebuilt from the ground up. Right. And then when I went to market, it just like boom, resonated fucking powerfully because I really was anchored in what they want and need. The
Mm,
messaging was tight. The like intro offer was tight.
hmm.
The everything was tight. So I'm going to advise that you go on a similar process. Um,
Okay.
and to put it really simply, you choose who you're selling to, then you look at what else is out there and you kind of understand what's working for
Hmm.
those people. Then you design a brand and a funnel, like brand, funnel, value ladder. Then you build your funnel, you run some, or I would advise run some organic traffic, tighten it up, and then start running paid ads into it.
Sure.
Hearing that plan, how does that sound to you?
Yeah, it's good. I like simplicity. I know what those words mean. I recently learned about a value ladder. Like I was doing it, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
Um, I, 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 yeah, okay. So I've sort of tried to do all of these things at once. This is probably why it's not working. It's why it's not working. Is I've
yeah,
tried to rebrand on the run, change the funnel, redo everything, fix my actual delivery of my product and all this other stuff at the same time. Um, and through kind of paid ads on top of that as this was all changing. So it's probably just shit at the moment. It's probably a bit all over the place.
yeah,
Plus, I've thrown in LinkedIn and YouTube and like all different stuff at once, and it's probably a
yeah.
little bit not quite right.
Throw
I
stuff
started
at the
doing the
wall and
test.
see what sticks.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. And I would say I was really just lying by I was sort of saying, I'll say it in the first person. I would just essentially lie and say to you, Asher, I know what my clients want because I talk to them all twice a month and I
Hmm.
have a solid breakdown of who they are and what they want. But that's also not really true because they're just coaching conversations. They're not interviews. So, I probably skipped that step as well. Um, and with the value ladder, just as an add-on, I just am so like I'm just so scatterbrained with that kind of thing that I'm like, yep, I'll start a podcast and then I'll do this and I'll charge for an ebook, but then I'll also add in like a little thing on this, and then I'll like have 5 ideas and then I implement none of them.
Yeah,
'Cause I don't really know what a value ladder's supposed to look like in an early stage business.
great. Well, let's go through each of these and I'll give you some general advice.
Great.
Anything you want to go deep on, we can go deeper on.
Fantastic.
And I just really want to validate where you're at. It's very tempting to try and do a lot of different things because if one of them works, great. It's really scary to just do one thing.
Yep. I hate it.
Yeah, it's really understandable. And it sounds like it's a bit of a recipe for burnout, like
Yeah.
trying to do everything. It's scary, like you're trying to do more than what you can.
Mm.
So,
Yep.
like to give yourself permission to slow down, to focus. It's like being more measured and more intentional, but and then you end up using less energy because you're doing it the right way.
Mm.
Yeah.
That would be great. That sounds.
Really, real discernment around where you spend your energy.
Mm.
It's like monogamy, kind of like you're not just fucking everything. And hopefully you're going to build a relationship that can last a lifetime because you're putting the care into it, you know?
Mm. Yep. So I'm so fortunate you know me so well.
Is this resonating for you?
Of course it is.
Okay, cool.
Mm.
So let's start with target audience. I actually just really like what I did for my target audience, and I'm happy to just share with you what I did, and you can literally use that template and do it yourself.
Great.
Um,
Thank you. That's very generous.
oh, you are so welcome. Just don't share it with anyone. Um,
I don't really have any friends.
okay, that
That was,
can't be true. You are the
that was,
most likable person I know.
thank you,
That's
Ash.
utter
That's very
bullshit.
generous. I appreciate it.
So this is target audience.
Mm.
You got your demographic data, name, age, gender, how much they're
Mm.
earning, what kind of career they're in,
Mm.
their business achievements, what are their relationships and interests. That's the basics. It just kind of helps you form a vision in your head of this person. And then you
Hmm.
get to the psychographics, which is a lot deeper. Um, I think reading what I've written will give you insight into the depth of understanding of their personality
Hmm.
that works. And then you've got like identifying factors for ideal clients. So I'll give you an example. Like I thought really deeply around the kind of staff that my target audience wants. They want people who are competent, they want good communicators, they want to be trustworthy and loyal, they want super proactivity, and they want to increase production capacity to open the bottlenecks and scale the business, right?
Hmm.
That probably sounds familiar because it's you. And then, so that's what they want. Then you go into, well, how do you know if they're an ideal client? And these are the factors that what like you like they need to be someone who you actually want to work with.
Mm.
And they need to have problems that you know how to solve. And they need to have solved some problems already to be worth working with you. And they need to be a pleasure to work with, right?
Yep.
So I'm literally gonna give you this document. I'm gonna share it to you right now. Um,
Thank you.
whoops. Which email?
Yeah, that was fun. You have so many emails.
Which one? DylanBenjaminCoaching@gmail.com.
Yeah, that one's the best one.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
So then you go into their fears and challenges. I've just written copious notes on this. I'm not going to read them out to you. You can
Yeah,
read them
yeah.
later.
Great.
And then surface issues and root cause issues.
Mm.
This is where a lot of my marketing comes from. It's like all the education content. It's like, oh, you're losing clients. This is really common. It's not your fault because what you weren't taught is that blah, blah, blah. And you go into the core issues. So that a lot of your marketing messaging this is the foundation of your marketing messaging, all this stuff.
Mm.
And then you might want to think about their role models, their past experiences of what hasn't worked before, because that's how you contrast yourself against other people. And then you list out some real world examples of these people. Um, and that's probably enough. Any questions or concerns about this stuff?
No, this
Great.
is good. I like it. It's really it's very thorough and very in depth and not really, yeah, I haven't gone to any level of depth with it. I've just kind of assumed I know.
What I would do is I would give yourself 1 to 2 hours
Mm-hmm.
and set a timer and just put out whatever you can. And if you can't, like ask ChatGPT as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then know that once you do your interviews, it will evolve. So you don't have to get it all perfect in the first draft. Don't think you have to spend 6 hours on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just your current idea of what's true. So you do that, then you have a look at your competitors and you think you reverse engineer their funnels. You know, you can see what someone's Facebook ads are by going.
Yes, I recently learned about that.
So you want to look at their Facebook ads, look at the branding style visually, look at what their key messages are, sign up for their products, go through their funnels, and just take some simple notes because you're going to be designing your own funnel specifically for this person.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions on the funnel hack?
No, I guess I just have to identify the people that I'm trying to hack essentially.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And ChatGPT might be able to help you on that as well.
great. I'll look.
And you
That's
can also, when you do your interviews, you can ask them who they're following.
yeah, yeah, good idea.
So just to backtrack a little bit, Dylan, the theory is the reason why your marketing isn't working is because your messaging and your funnels aren't resonating for the target audience that you want to work with, which is really understandable because you've been working with a different audience for such a long time and you've been doing what you've always been doing.
Mm,
So there's a re-education and a reconsideration process that happens
hmm
where you shift you mature your understanding and then you create new assets and funnels to respond to that new understanding.
hmm
Cool. So, do you feel ready to for me to talk about the interviews?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So, this is the interview that I did. Um, Very interesting. I interviewed one, two, three, 4 people. I would aim to interview 5. And you can kind of see the categories. It's like when it comes to health and fitness, what are your biggest challenges? What are your biggest fears? What are your biggest points of friction? What are your problems? You don't have to ask every single one of these questions. If you just ask one or two, they'll probably give you all the answers. And,
Yeah.
and actually, I'll backtrack. It's like, how do you even get an interview in the first place? So, what I would say is, I would say, Dylan,
Mm,
I'm not trying to sell you anything extra, but I'd love to ask you for a favor.
hmm
Um, you're someone who I think of as like my absolute ideal client. You're driven, you're committed to your business, you're an absolute pleasure to work with, and I want to work with more people like you. And in order to do that, I want to create the best possible experience. And in order to do that, I need to more deeply understand people like you.
mm,
So, would it be okay if I took you out for lunch? I would love to buy you lunch and just ask you a few questions about your experience of life.
mm,
So, the reason why that invitation works is it's flattering, it's warm, and it gives people an opportunity to help that's actually pretty easy. They just have to talk about themselves.
mm.
Um, you might want to put at the end, and if it's not possible, it's all good. I can ask other people. So, there's no pressure.
Yeah.
And if you want, you can offer them something in exchange. Like if they're a client, you could say, and I'm happy to give you a free session on X if you want.
Mm.
So you list out like 5 or 10 people and ask to interview them that way.
Yeah, right. I like it.
Great. So let's go back into the interview process. Then you ask them what their goals are. Then, and you want to think about immediate, medium term, long term. You'll see I didn't actually cover all of these things when I
Mm.
interviewed them. These are just like guidance because you got to move quickly. You won't have time to ask every single question, but they're good angles to think from. So you ask them about their goals in that area of life. Then you ask, what have they already tried that hasn't worked? And that's really helpful because you don't want to make that thing. Because if you make that thing that they've already tried and it hasn't worked, they're never going to go for it.
Yeah.
This is how you start to differentiate yourself even more clearly. Then you ask who are their role models, which can kind of give you people to funnel hack. And you ask what are their desired solutions. So with this agency, I was thinking I'm going to teach people how to hire their own VAs and manage them so they get good results.
Mm.
The business owners that I went to, they were like, I don't want to learn any new skills. I don't have the time for that. I just want something handed over to me, make it easier, make it faster. And I was like, okay, I'm not making a training product. I am becoming a staffing agency. And I did a complete repivot. And that was
Mm.
gold. So you're listening for the thing that will enable you to repivot and get closer to what your audience needs.
Mm.
Cool. So you're asking that question of what worked and what didn't work in the past. Can you see my screen still?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then you start to talk about what you're thinking of selling them, and you want to get their objections. Um, so you might be at this point thinking, okay, so I'm gonna give them a 1 month trial in a group, and I'm gonna do a mix of physical health and personal development growth training. And then at the end of that month, I'm going to invite them into a 10K 1 year container, and it's going to include XYZ. You might be thinking that in your head. So you've asked them all these questions, and then at the end you say, "Cool, I'm curious about if I was to offer you this thing, how would you respond?" And I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to get your genuine, like honest feedback. So the first thing would be they found me on social media and I want to offer them a free 1 month group container. And these are the things we're going to do. And this is what we're going to achieve. And this is what they're going to cover. How does that land for you?
Mm.
And you look at them and you look at their body language. They might be like, uh, yeah, I guess it could work. That's a no, because they want to be polite. And you want to ask probing questions that help really understand honestly how they're responding to the thing that you're offering them.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So, and then you list out their objections and you interview multiple of them and you allow your mind to slowly come to terms with a new reality and it reveals the truth of what's underneath it all. And it will make your marketing much stronger. How's this all landing for you, Dylan?
Yeah, this is good. This is good. I like it. You convey the ideas in a very simple way, which is very helpful.
Great, great. Cool. So that's the interview process. So I would do at least five.
Yeah. And obviously, that wouldn't be just based on the flow of what you're mentioning. It
Mm.
doesn't sound like current clients are the right people to interview.
Well, they might be. You might have some current clients who are a good fit.
Yeah.
I guess if they're already getting the thing that you're selling, then you have to like ask them to take themselves back to before they had it.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think current clients are really good because they're already in a relationship with you and it's in their interest to nurture their relationship with you. So they're probably going to want to help.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's a good point.
So they're the interviews. That's the interview process. Should I move on to brand or do you want
Yeah,
to?
absolutely. No,
Great.
no, we can go.
Okay, so now we move on to brand design, agency competitors, design instructions, brand guides. So this was like, I just had this running list of competitors. Every time I thought of a competitor, I would just put it in this Google Doc.
Hmm.
And when I started funnel hacking, I had this list. Yeah. So, and then niche. What is this? Is this worth going over? So you see, you know that like the I forgot the Jap Ikigai thing. It's like they want to pay you, you can solve their problem, you're inspired to solve their problem. You know that Ikigai concept?
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I know.
So similar to that, I was tossing up a few different niches,
Mm.
like
Right.
who I want to sell to. And I asked myself, is there a good audience size? Are they able to pay? Do they need the thing I offer? Do I have the ability to deliver? And do I have the ability to target them through ads?
Mm.
And then I kind of, red, orange, green them, and online educators came out the best through that process. But
Hmm.
you're pretty clear on your niche already. But if you get unclear on your niche, this is a good way to think about it.
Yeah, this is cool.
So that's an optional. You can go back to that if you need to, but I think you already know who your niche is. You might start questioning it later. This is a good criteria to think about, and we can talk about it as well if you want. You might go through this process and have a bunch of questions. If you need to book in a future session, that's okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
So let's go to the brand guide. Um, I relied on GPT pretty heavily for this. It really helps. I gave
Mm.
it, once I designed my target audience, and then I'd done my interviews, and then I went back to my target audience and updated it and fed ChatGPT all that data. Then I started creating content. Um, so brand identity, what is the name? What is the one-liner? Feeling stuck in the day-to-day grind of your business, Unicorn Staffing is here to help you break free. And then I like crafted a one paragraph. And then I did the mission and purpose, mission and vision. So it's like, what is the ideal dream that we are creating for our target audience? Um, what are the values of the organization? So, values are a really important way to differentiate yourself from your competitors. And it's an expression of your personality and what you know that your audience is yearning for that other people aren't providing.
Hmm.
So, you jot some down there. Then there's like personality. And this is pretty deep. Like, I think the way you should think about this brand stuff, Dylan, is like if a particular category resonates for you, then use it. And if it's like that feels unnecessary, just cut that part of the document out. And if it's like, oh, it feels really necessary, but I don't know how to do it, then ask GPT or ask me or ask both of us, and we can help you refine it.
Yep.
Cool.
There are three people in my business, Asha. There's me, Kath, and GPT.
Yeah. Yeah. So so then we come to just
Cool.
rejigging my Zoom screen. That's better. So provider archetypes is a framework for like, there's like 12 different archetypes. And when you understand what your provider archetypes are, it helps you enrich your brand. And GPT will know what the 12 provider archetypes are.
Yep.
And you can ask it, like, what does my target audience most yearn for in provider archetypes? And it will like give you a list, and then you can pick the ones that you like. And it's just like another little dimension for you to enrich your understanding of who you are in relationship to these people. So for me, I'm the caregiver. I protect and care for my people. I'm the sage. I have knowledge and wisdom and I share it with others. I'm a magician. I make dreams come true and create something special. And I'm a friend. I'm kind, I'm friendly, I'm on your side, and I'm on your level. This gave me a lot of clarity on my messaging. Then you list out your reputation, what you want to be known for, and what you stand against. So you'll see trends in the industry and you'll be like, ah, I don't want to be that. And you should list that because they're really powerful messages. So then you've got your tone of voice. I really want to get, does it feel valuable to go this deep on branding, or would you prefer to focus more of our time on like funnels and tactics? Because I can go quicker through this stuff, or I can go at this level of depth.
I guess, I mean, yeah, it is valuable. I guess maybe in the interest of time,
Yeah,
um, I will go through this anyway, as in I will look through this a bit more deeply and then try and create my own versions. But everything you're saying is, like this is very, very good. I need this level of clarity,
okay,
uh, but I also know I need the other thing.
great. So I'll
And
go
look, if
through
we
it a
don't
little
get
bit.
through it all, I totally understand. We can, we can organize another one. It's chilled.
I think like I'm just going to say what needs to be said that the document can't say itself.
Great. That would be great. Thank you.
I recommend spending some time on your tone of voice. Like a couple of bullet points is enough. GPT will be really helpful, but you just
Mhm.
have to sanity check it with what you know to be true about the real world. Messaging, really helpful. Things we say, things our brand says. Let's cut to the chase. Offshore staff can transform your business, but don't worry, we're here to make it easy, not overwhelming. Recruitment can be like a maze. We provide you with the map and the compass to navigate it effortlessly. It's like really strong messages.
Mm, mm,
Um, Content tips, these are just my marketing wisdom, just like things you should do in any business. Like understanding what their core currency is. This is a really important concept. So the core currency is the quantifiable thing, the tangible thing that is most important to them. So, I'm tempted to talk about operations because that's my area of focus, but business owners aren't the most interested in operations. They're actually the most interested in making money and saving time. Their core currency is not operations, it's time and money. And to really get clear on that, that's a really valuable idea. And then objection handling. This is gold, Dylan. Absolute gold. So the categories of objection handling are money, time and energy, personal flaws, and the offering and the provider, which is you. You
mm,
list
mm,
out why they're going to object, like why they're going to say no to you, and then you provide a solution to their objection, which will is either a reframe or a guarantee or a feature in your offer or something that's going to put their mind at ease. So when you sell to them and also in your branding and marketing, you've addressed their concerns before you even get on the sales call. And this is marketing goal to kind of promote to weave this stuff into your messaging. It's also very relieving for your target audience. It's like, oh my God, it can really be that easy. That's amazing.
right.
Cool. I don't want to go too deeply on visual brand
Hmm.
right now. I don't think that's what's needed. Um,
It up. I'm on a call. Oh, sorry. Tasha.
Hi, Gemma.
Sorry, I was telling him off. I love how you don't respect the fact that this is my office and you just walk past and yell at me. Ignore the door. I'm at work.
Okay, so this is another. I'm going to skip this one. You'll read it and you can decide whether or not to do it. Very interesting.
Cool. Cool.
So I'll make sure I've shared that with you.
Thank you. I'm pumped to read this one. Brand guide. Good
Yeah.
one.
So that's it. Once you've done your interviews, you're ready to do your brand. You could even start the brand before the interviews are finished and then tweak it once you've finished the interviews. Then after that, you want to think about your funnel and your value ladder. Your funnel is how you get people into your offers, and your
Hmm.
value ladder is what you sell them. A value ladder will typically have a low end, a mid range, and a high end offer. And a funnel will, like in your industry, it's going to typically be DMs, posts, and ads into a landing
Yep.
page, into a free thing, plus a nurturing sequence, into an invitation for a strategy or sales call, into a qualifying questionnaire to make sure they're not a dud, into a sales call.
Yep. That's exactly what I do.
Great.
But yeah.
So once you've done all this sort of brand stuff, then you can carefully look through this and notice where it's broken. And then
Nice.
you put together a shopping list of things to fix in it and you prioritize that list. You don't do it all at once. And then you pick the highest, you get them done one at a time in a
Mm.
sequential way.
Yep.
And what I would recommend is when you get to this point where you're up to funnel and ladder, like keep listing out questions that you don't know how to answer yourself and you want reflection on. And like do like look at your current funnel and value ladder and question where is it broken? Or that's a bit of a harsh term. Where can it be improved? List out the potential improvements, prioritize them, and then
Yep.
come to either me or your other coaches and say, this is my new brand. This is what I think I need to do. Give me feedback.
Got it.
Cool. Do you want to go any deeper on funnel and value ladder right now?
Um, I mean, if you think it's advantageous, when I said I do this, it doesn't mean I'm a master at it. It just means that this is sort of like,
Yeah.
like DM and posting, obviously, it's social media ads, very basic, no real landing page.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's not true. There's a landing page to get them to take the free thing into the nurture sequence, or there's the prospect of a call, but they go through a two-stage DM sequence. Um, I've been told to create a VSL before they book the call, so
Yeah.
to give them more guidance around what it is. Um, I don't have a pixel yet, so I need to create a pixel so that when we run the ads, we're getting richer data about who's going to Calendly,
Yeah.
or who's getting on the call. Um, and then I've sort of redone my sales script based on, I forget who they are, but some high level salespeople, which so far it's proving to be quite good. It's just
Right.
the yeah, anyway, sorry, I won't go into detail, but I've just essentially tried to reshape everything, and particularly in the last month, I basically said to Norwich out loud, he's like, "What are you going to do?" And I was like, "I'm blowing the whole fucking thing up with a blowtorch and some gas, and I'm starting again because I hate it."
Okay.
Kind of what
Well,
I've been doing.
then I've given you the plan to start again, so that works well.
That's, whatever. So you always have to start again. You never stop starting again.
True.
Hopefully, you make money along the way, though.
Yeah. Why don't I finish talking about this plan and then we can hone in on the specific spots where you've got the strongest question or concern.
Great.
Okay. So that's going to be your funnel and your value ladder. You've got to you don't have to have three different offers. Also, the good thing about the funnel and the value ladder is like you can stage it out. Like you can build the simple, easy version. You can build
Mm,
one offer. You can just get things running, and then
mm,
over time you can layer in. Like you don't
yeah.
have to build it all and then launch it. In fact, I wouldn't advise doing that. So once
No.
you've designed your dream funnel and value ladder, then you like prioritize uh, and plan, and then you build your funnel and value ladder upgrades.
Nice.
And then what I would recommend is you run organic traffic, you tighten up your funnel and sales process. And by funnel, I mean like lead nurture and sales call booking.
Got it.
And then you add paid ads to the mix. Like you've got a funnel that you know works for the traffic that you've got.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start ramping up the ad spend and you can justify it because you know it works.
Mm.
And if you're like getting a bit impatient and you want to pump a bit of money in, then you can just boost some posts.
Yep. Cool. Got it.
So that's like a big picture plan.
Mm.
How do you feel about that as your plan?
Yeah, it's good. I like that it's 90 days. I like the clarity. And yeah, my biggest problem is that I always try and start from somewhere in the middle or at the end and work backwards, but that never works. Despite making that mistake a lot, I still make it. So yeah, there's more clarity. Essentially, what's kind of coming through me quite strongly is to just start at the beginning
Yeah.
because if I rush through and skip stages, like in anything, it's just not going to be built on a strong foundation. So
Yeah.
that's definitely very, very helpful.
What uh is there a risk that one of the parts of you will forget or undermine the wisdom of starting with the foundation? And like by that I mean, like, is it possible that you'll kind of derail yourself? And if so, what would motivate you to derail yourself? And how can you protect yourself against getting derailed?
What would motivate me to derail myself is that I just am addicted to novelty. So I will, when things stop working, just change things again and do something new um, to get that juicy hit of dopamine. So that's probably my biggest that
Mm,
is my biggest flaw, is that the ideas are all there. All the ideas are percolating all the time, but my application is not up to standard. So that's really where I just have to just put simply, just focus on one thing at a time,
mm,
which is
yeah,
circular to your question, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. That seems valid. You might want to um, get call in some support, like someone you can check in with once a week and like show them your plan
Mm,
and check in with them once a week and let them know and say like this is my plan. My commitment to myself is
mm,
to could even be Kath. This is my plan. My commitment to myself is to be really methodical and not scatter myself. And I'm going to check in with you once a week and answer the question, am I following the plan? Am I scattering myself? And then if you want to go really deep, you could say, what am I avoiding or getting by scattering myself? And how do I give myself that thing in a more resourceful way?
mm.
And also, actually, before I go to that next point, how does that sit for you?
Yeah, good, good. I like
Great. I also just trust that you're on your learning journey. This is one of those lessons that takes time to learn. and you're doing well. You're probably becoming more methodical over time. And yeah, I really trust you. I know that you're going to find your way through this.
Thanks, Ash. I appreciate it.
Cool. Cool. Do you want me to go back to your initial set of questions and see what's missing, or do you want to guide the session from here? Where do
Uh, um, mm, no, I want you to guide,
you...
please.
Okay. So, first question was, where am I structurally bottlenecked right now? It sounds like lead generation and lead nurturing
Hmm.
is where you're structurally bottlenecked because you're getting good conversion on sales calls, but you're not getting people in. So that's the obvious answer to that. How does that sit for you?
True. Yep.
Yep. If you were to rebuild my growth engine, what levers would you pull first? Well, I think the first lever, I mean, because we've put out the plan, the first lever is brand, target audience and brand, right?
Mm,
Like going back to the psychology and the offer before building a bunch of shit. How does that answer sit for you?
yeah, it's the right answer.
Great. So then the next question is paid acquisition, when, where, and how. So my answer to that has been get a funnel that works, then pour money into it. Uh, and I'm hearing your sales call works, but you're not getting a lot of people in. So it's going to be the things prior to the sales call that need to be fixed. So that's the answer to when. Where, I would say Facebook and Instagram. But when you funnel hack your competitors, you should check out whether they're doing Google ads, because that's also an option. The other thing to consider is potentially doing like an affiliate partnership, especially a referral partnership, especially with someone like, what was his name? Rich James Jackson, because he targets your audience, but he's not a fitness coach. So there's potential for a referral exchange there. Um, but back to, I'm assuming when you say paid acquisition, you're referring to ads. So I would say we've answered the when. And then the how is you're either going to do it yourself or you're going to pay an agency. And that will depend on your cash flow. An
Hmm.
agency is probably going to charge you about 2 grand a month. They're not cheap.
Mm,
And I'm assuming you've got training for that in your coaching program. So my guess is probably DIY it.
yeah, that's the solution for now.
Cool. Should I keep going down your list of questions?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If there's any glaring there's any glaring omission, if there's any glaringly obvious ones that we haven't touched on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is good. This is helpful.
Okay. So then you've got DM lead flow systemization. Where am I leaving leverage on the table? I think um, my belief is that you're getting leads in and then they're dropping off before you get them into the call, which is revealed by the low click-through rate. What that tells me is that there's something about your messaging or what you're offering them before the call that is not attracting them or deterring them. So either the brand's off or the lead magnet's off. You have to offer them something that they really want, and you have to communicate with them in a way that's really going to resonate for them. If you do those things, they'll click through.
Mm.
Um, so, where am I leaving leverage on the table? I think it's just better messaging and a better pre-sales call offer that really resonates with them. Like,
Yeah.
when I offered you double the hours in the first month and a complete refund if you're not happy with her, like that's an irresistible offer.
Mm.
So really tuning into what brings them alive and what they're really feeling on the inside and they look at their offer and they're like, wow, that is so fucking generous. I love that.
Mm.
And then you've just got to be careful to do it in a way that isn't massively time consuming for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have one other leverage on the table piece, but before I go, how does that sit for you?
Right.
Cool. So the next piece is, I think, um, you could do a quiz, like a questionnaire. Are you on Go High Level yet? Did you end up on Go High Level? Okay.
No.
So I think a questionnaire, what a questionnaire can do is, like prior to your sales call, it can qualify people, but it can also motivate them. So having like a good quiz that ask them questions that helps them feel the importance of the thing that you're selling them. What are your goals? You can ChatGPT will really help you with this, but things like what is your top priority goal? How important is it to you on a scale of 1 to 10? What is the most painful thing of not having that right now? Like getting them G'd up through your form, I think is a good move for you.
Right.
And yeah, you're not getting that many people into calls. But if you were getting heaps into calls and it was taking up too much of your time, then I would be talking about Kath, like screening them and qualifying them and triaging them.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I am looking forward to having that problem.
Yeah. So that's the answer to that question. Content machine. How would you evolve my content system for scale? Um, I think you produce a fair bit of content already, don't you? How many
Yeah,
pieces
yeah.
a week of content?
Yeah. We're in a pretty good flow now where um I make 7 video pieces of video content on a Monday, Cap edits them on a Wednesday, and the rest of it is just photo content repurposed with different um
Yeah.
story or information based content. So I don't know what that question was necessarily. Can you just repeat the question?
Content machine. How would you evolve my content system for scale?
Oh yeah, okay. I guess well, yeah, that's sort of I don't know how to ask that question very well, but I guess more what I would be curious is like I think I meant in terms of generating more people putting their hands up. But I suppose it would be a combination of if that was happening, it would just need to be chat. It would need to be many chat. Because if there were 100 people, like unless Kath is managing the whole thing, um, how would I scale it to? That's a bit of a silly question. I'd just leave a link for the call.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know why I asked that. Of
Did you get ChatGPT to produce these questions?
course I did.
Well,
No, I
maybe.
put in like ten questions and then finessed a few things and
Yeah.
then said, let's come up with some questions based on this
Yeah,
and
cool.
show me what I'm missing.
Yeah. Okay, well, the next question was what 90-day sprint would you execute in my seat?
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, we did that. I don't think that's 90 days. I think that's more than 90 days.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think um like you'd probably want to get all the target audience, funnel hack, interviews, and brand stuff done within 3 weeks.
Yep.
And 90 days is how many weeks? It's 12 weeks, is it?
Yeah,
13 weeks.
it
So I
would be,
think
I suppose.
all the brand stuff, 3 to 4 weeks. And then like you'd want to define your funnel and your value ladder and prioritize and plan. I would say by week 5 or 6, you'd want to have your target audience done, your funnel hack, your interviews, your brand, your funnel and value ladder plan, and your priorities, and be building. I think if you took a month to get there, that would be fast and solid.
Mm.
And then you'd have another 9 weeks to build something meaningful, or to maybe like in 9 weeks, you'd build two really meaningful improvements, one per month,
Yeah, okay.
2 to 3, let's say. But that will be dependent on your plan, which you create based on all those previous things. And I think the things you will build will probably be like there will naturally be a shift in your entry level, in your content, your social media content, because you've done a rebrand.
Mhm.
And then I would work from like social media content up. So the next thing will be what happens once they've seen your content. It'll be like getting people into the lead magnet and the lead magnet itself, the entry offer. That's going to be the highest priority.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think 9 weeks is a realistic amount of time to get that done. Yeah. How does that answer sit for you?
Yeah, good. Good. Gives me a good amount of things to focus on. Um, Gives me impetus to pull back more time from working in, and make this the thing that I do on.
Great. Yeah, great. So then the last question is any income stabilizer models I'm missing without selling my soul? Good question. Love it. So I would say, I wrote a few notes on this. I think like the it's easier to retain clients than it is to find new ones. And I think what's your current offerings? What are your current offerings?
So it really depends on, well, just the main one is American. So the main one is they get a 12-week coaching experience personalized with me. Um, it's everything's done for you or done with you, but done for you essentially. There's a coaching call every fortnight. It's $90 US a week, $90 US a week across the 12 weeks, so about 1,000. Um, they get their customized program updated every 4 weeks. I don't usually go into the like every little detail until it's relevant, but it's about we cover all the areas required. So there are lots of documents. There are a few key documents, a few key videos, and it's a guided process throughout that. And they have access to me the whole time. They've got through the portal I use in Everfit now. So they've got DM access. There are weekly check-in forms, fortnightly coaching calls. They've got their full program. There's a bunch of different documents to help them navigate food, nutrition, recovery. And there are two drop-down versions. There's I forget what the names are, but let's just call it the top tier, the middle tier, and the bottom tier. The top tier is 90, the middle tier is 75, the bottom tier is 60. That's if they're here. Sorry, that's if they're in the States. If they're in Australia, same basic premise, 110, 95, 80.
Got it. Cool. Um, I think it's worth exploring different offerings, but I don't want to overwhelm you.
That's okay. That's okay.
But we can talk about some ideas. So, do you have a large group of people who've stopped working with you?
Like ex-clients, yeah, yeah, reasonably large. In the last year, I can tell you the exact number,
No,
but
no, no. It's okay. It's okay.
there's probably on this program, there's probably 50 ex-clients. In the last 3 years, there's probably 300, maybe 5 years, sorry.
So, would it be fair to, is it true that once they've finished working with you, their problems are different to when they started working with you? Or are they still the same problems?
Mm, If they actually are engaged and if they actually utilize the service and if they actually go through the program, um, I generally find within 12 months they feel confident to go off on their own.
Yeah.
So their problems are different. If they don't do anything or if they rush in and rush out, which sometimes happens. They're out after 8 weeks.
Yeah.
They're like, I've already lost 15 pounds, I'm done. Then the problems tend to be the same 6 months later. And it's
Yeah.
not it's not uncommon for someone I worked with a year ago for a brief period to come back and want to work together again.
Yeah. So, couple of options. One is you do an alumni program,
Okay.
which is specifically targeted to the person who's worked with you for a year. They've got different problems, they need a different offering.
Yep.
And then you bundle the alumni together. It might even be a group training, group thing. Yeah.
Yep. I like that.
So then you can re-engage past clients. And it could really be like there could be community oriented stuff, like, if they're all A players, it's like really important to feel a sense of community around movement and health. And I would love, like, locally, I love working out with people, especially people who are passionate about health,
Mm.
because the A players, they want to be around other A players. So there might be an opportunity there. Um, I'll give you another one, which is like a past client's sale. You can be like, hey, you're a past client of mine. I'm doing a flash offer for all past clients. If you want to make some quick cash flow, you could shoot that out.
Mm.
Um, yeah, there are a couple of ideas. Just like giving you creative little
Yeah,
prompts.
no, it's good. It's good. I like it.
Yeah. And then there was one more that I had noted down. Income stabilizers. Yeah, I think the alumni program was the main idea I had for that. Um, oh, I did have another thing, which is like 1% of your audience will want to pay 10 times what they're already paying. The max spend right now is $1,000 a quarter, roughly. Yep.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Um, yeah, about that. Yeah, yeah, let's call it that.
So is there something that you could offer that is significantly more expensive and 1% of your audience will want it, but it will make a significant difference to your bottom line? Someone who's fucking loaded. Like, the guy who's making 400K a year. And because
Mm.
rich people want ease, they want speed, they want convenience, they want deep attention.
Mm.
Could you offer that?
Yeah, I could. I think essentially it would just be it would be marketed differently, but the key variable would be they'd get a call every week. So they'd feel a much tighter one-on-one container.
Mm,
If we're talking 10x, if we're talking like if it was I don't know if you could 10x a group. Oh, you probably could, actually. You probably could. A group program as well, but there might be multiple touch points a week. So, but that becomes a bit of a challenge. I guess, sorry, essentially it would be a call a week and done for you nutrition where I would, depending on where they are, engage a meal prep service to do everything for them, assuming that money was no object for them,
yeah,
um, because that would effectively guarantee that they're following the plan to the letter. And if they're following the plan to the letter, they'll win, guaranteed.
that's a cool idea. And how could you make it scalable? How could you outsource some of this stuff? Like, could you make it instead of 4K a year, could you make it 15K a year and
Hmm.
outsource a lot of the workload?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely could. I've explored this in the past. Part of that would be they would get everything from me and it would be branded as such, but I would actually get a qualified dietitian to set the plan up and then liaise with someone locally. So I would pay them, but it wouldn't take them too much time. But to the person I'm doing it for, it would seem invaluable.
Yeah. So that's a potential move that you could make.
Hmm.
And if you're wanting to target the premium clientele, then it makes sense to have a premium offer.
Yeah.
How does that sound as an idea?
Yeah, it's good. Makes me nervous, so it's probably a good thing.
I'm also aware you don't want to get scattered. So, this may be something for the future once you've done your rebrand and you've set
Mm.
up basic stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know what? I would much rather have 20 people paying me $200 a week than 40 people paying me $100 a week.
Yeah.
Because it's just, for me, it's deeper work. It's more straightforward. I know each person much more clearly. Um, and it's less work to find them and bring them in and keep them.
How many people in your current or past client base are like mega rich and would be interested in something like that?
Um, Truthfully, I really don't know. Maybe five. I don't know. Maybe 5%. I didn't used to do this deep level of coaching. Like a year ago, well, 2 years ago, it was everyone got one call a month, and that
Mm.
was the only offer that I did. And then I sort of increased and changed things. So I really don't know. Some of them maybe. I'm sure there's like at least 10 in there that are rich, like
Mm.
objectively financially rich.
It could be really interesting to design something that's going to be low effort for you. And so the problem is compliance, right? It's
Yeah.
like you've given them the pathway, but they're not doing it. Is that the problem? Compliance?
Yes.
I mean, there's different ways of thinking about the problem.
No, but I mean, essentially, that's it. Everyone who gets the result because they comply. It's not challenging for me to create a program that gets them from A to B in 90 days or
Mm.
180 days, depending on how far away they are. That's easy. The coaching, for me, that's easy. The compliance is that even the deep coaching and even the great work and even the plan, they're still on their own at times, and they're still, maybe 10 days where they're by themselves and they fuck things up and go backwards. So yes, that would be the only reason they fail is because of compliance. The only reason anyone generally taps out is they either got there and they're done, or they didn't get there and they're embarrassed. So there's a bit of ghosting that happens.
Yeah. So I think there's an interesting inquiry, and you might be able to weave this into your rebranding
Hmm.
and your redesign of your value ladder of like what are the top 10 ways in which people fail to comply, and what are the psychological mechanisms that cause them to not comply, or practical mechanisms. And then if you had an unlimited budget, how would you prevent those fuck ups from occurring?
Mm,
And it might be that they have a nutritionist, a psychologist, or a coach, a fitness person, meals delivered to their door, a fridge audit. Like just like you go through all the ways in which they fail to comply, and for each one, you're like, if I had an unlimited budget, how would I solve this problem?
mm,
And then you start to think about, well, how could I make that happen with minimal work on my end? I don't want to become a full-time manager. I want people who I can trust to get it done without a lot of oversight. Or maybe I get Kath to like help manage shit. And then you put out, and then you might look at it and be like, yeah, when I think about the dollars per hour of my time, this could be really fucking great. Maybe it's 20 grand a year.
mm.
If you get five people on 20 grand a year, that's a whole fucking business.
Yes, when you put it that way.
And I know this is not your regular approach and it might be too much change for now. Like maybe you just want to get your thing right,
Mm,
but I just throw it into the mix as something to think about.
mm. Yeah, it's helpful.
Selling to richer people is easier. Like it's easier to make more money working with richer people because they're willing to spend more. Like you're going to get good at solving someone's problems.
Yeah.
You can get good at solving poor people's problems or rich people's problems.
Mm,
Erring towards rich people tends to be a good move.
yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I'd like someone to solve my problems when I'm rich.
I will. I will be there for you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. No, I like this. It's also just for me, it's useful to just see possibility because otherwise I get, stuck on the minutia of what I'm doing now, and then, the burnout comes from not seeing the payoff come later or what I'm actually working towards. So yeah, this is good. I like it.
Yeah, the energy of creativity.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else I can help you with? Where are you now? Where do you want to focus on? Give me an update on where you're at and what I can help you with.
Right now, I would like to go through, not right this second, I mean, but I'd like to go through that document, both of those documents that we were looking at, because they look very, okay, let's go back a step. Where I'm at right now is that I think I've fumbled my way for many, many years, to just like a reasonable level of success based on my expenses. And it
Mm,
was great because it really wasn't that much work. But I think it was an opportune moment in time. I think social media and things like that and post-COVID and all that stuff meant it was easy to hide in plain sight. But I think the market has matured. I think the economy's changed. And I think I've also evolved
mm,
considerably. And I'm now carrying parts of a business and some clients, which I've worked on removing. But, parts of a business that worked when it worked and then stopped, but some things didn't die because I didn't allow them to, or some things just didn't get left behind, for whatever reason, not really relevant.
mm,
And now I recognize that this is a different time, this is a different market, and I'm talking a big talk. And I know I can walk it as well because I have enough client proof that it's totally not a problem. But the strategies that used to work, which tempt me all the time, like a simple comment, a word on a post, just doesn't work anymore.
mm,
And if people are wise to it now, it doesn't work.
mm,
So, I have to obligate myself to follow the proper process, and stop acting like a personal trainer, fitness coach who can just walk the gym floor and charm people to get work. I have to actually think and act like an operator,
mm,
who's trying to land people who are prepared to part with more money,
mm.
for the result, for the transformation. Because I know
Yeah.
I can give it to them, but I don't want to work for free and I don't want to work with cheap people anymore. So if I want to attract higher caliber of people, I have to have a higher caliber experience from start to finish. That's probably the crux of it.
Amen, Dylan. Like this is you're leveling up.
Mm,
Yeah, it feels really true. It feels like you're on a mission, you're creating something better for yourself, you're
mm,
getting real with it, and you're going to make it happen.
mm. Yeah.
I
Sounds
I would suggest adding one thing to the mix, which is working towards you not needing to work more than 40 hours a week
mm,
and designing the like thinking with the back in the back of your head, do I have to work 60 hours a week to make this happen? If so, I need to be more ambitious. How do I get it so that it's 40 hours a week? And it might take you a year or two or three to get there, but you're going to get there and it's part of the plan.
mm. Yeah, I like that.
So if it means you have to charge more or you have to be more systematic, then so be it. Because I don't think you're going to want to work 60 hours a week in your 40s.
No, I don't want to work 60 hours a week now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, no, yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, look, it all makes sense, and I think Um, it all has to be in alignment. And if it's not all in alignment, then it's not going to work. And so the the friction is that it's not in alignment.
Yeah.
So it's just going to take some work, but hopefully with the resources that I have and the knowledge I have and the experiences, I can just knuckle down and focus on one thing at a time with this excellent plan you've helped me build.
Amen. Amen. Yeah.
Amen. Amen. But yeah, no, this was excellent. I've got a lot of stuff to work with now, so I'm gonna spend a few minutes just reading back over this and um, letting it all land before I make my next one move at a time.
Awesome. Okay, brother.
Beautiful.
I'll see you when I do. Good luck with everything.
Amazing. Thank you as well. Always a pleasure. Much love. Be
Yeah.
well. Have a
If
great
you
night.
need clarification on anything I've covered,
Mm,
you can just send me a message and I'll give it to you. I'm not going to charge for that.
amazing. That's very generous. Appreciate it. Always.
Welcome.
I'll talk to you again very soon.
Bye, cuz.
See you guys.